Before I became an algo trader, I used to trade manually by looking at charts, indicators, and trying to make money during the day. Of course, my focus was on entering during the day, exiting end of day, because in my head that was the best. And of course, that was being fed by the media and books and all the make money quick schemes. But after a 1 year review of my trades, after losing, of course, end of the year, I noticed that a lot of days I was up during the morning, but then I lose it all and more at the end of the day. But then it hit me. It is the time of the day that has the effect. Of course, I kept that in mind and I tried to include it in my plan. But you know, when you're trading manually, the plan obviously goes out the window the moment you lose. And that's why, of course, we do algo trading, because then there is no emotion. Everything is done previously when you are sane and rational when developing your trading system. Still, that concept apply till today. And I do teach this in my algo trading masterclass to separate windows of entry during the day. Of course, if you're entering and exiting during the day, that makes sense. If you're entering and exiting 5 days later, then this has less of an effect on your trade. But today we will answer this question. If you are scalping during the day, if you have a system that enters during the day and exit end of day, is there a time window that will affect your strategy regardless of your entry algo and exit algo? So here is a simple system. It's actually not system. We're just entering beginning of day, exiting end of day. Now this is the S&P 500 represented by the ES. This is the E-mini futures contract. Of course, we know that the S&P has a drift to the upside, so we expect to make maybe a little bit of money. I have data here since 2006. So as you see, I am buying every day at 8 a.m. This is the close of 8 a.m. bar, exiting end of day at 4 p.m. So of course you can see sometimes we do very well, sometimes we catch the opposite trend, and sometimes we are in the middle. And if we look at the performance of this system, we can see that we have 4,377 trades. That's a lot of trades. It's all long, of course. We're buying in the morning, we're exiting end of day. And we have a slight edge. The percent profitable is 54%, and we are making a little bit of money. Now, this is not including commission and slippage. So, of course, this is a losing system. But you can see how the drift up is there by having a high win percent than 50%. Now, if I optimize the strategy to buy between 7 a.m. and 1500, that's 3 p.m. in a step of one. So that's every hour we buy and we exit end of day. So we have 9 combinations. We can see that all of them are profitable. This is the average trade. But there is a huge difference between anything before 11 a.m. and after 1 p.m. but before 3 a.m. So basically, if you buy at 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m. and sell end of day, or buy at 2 p.m. and sell end of day, you are making at least double the amount that if you are buying during lunchtime or after 2 p.m. Now, this is significant. Remember, we have 4,373 trades. We're not using any kind of filter. And we are there since 2006. So we have the subprime crash, and we have the COVID crash. We have 2015, 2017. So we have all kind of regimes, high volatility, low volatility. And we end up that this is really significant. This is double than this and more than 3 times of these two. So that shows that there is a significant value not trading during lunchtime, also not trading after 2 p.m. So regardless of your entry signal during the day, you are scalping, you have, I don't know, 1 hour time frame, 15-minute time frame, doesn't matter. But if you are looking to make money during the day, the fake signals will happen during lunchtime. Now, this, of course, is not a general thing over all markets, but it is true on the US indexes during, of course, lunchtime in New York time. So this lunchtime is hovering between 11 and 2 p.m. So starting at 11 a.m., ending at 2 p.m., don't take any signal. And between 2 and 3 p.m., you can take that signal. And of course, between 8 a.m. and 11 a.m., you can take that signal. So here now you see this is the ES, the YM, this is the Dow, and the NQ, which is the NASDAQ. And now let's look at the Dow. So the Dow consists of 30 stocks only, and you can see that the difference is not as prominent as the S&P 500. So yes, between 8 and 11, we still make more money than lunchtime. And also between 2 and 3 p.m., we still make more money than lunchtime. But it's not as significant as the S&P 500, but still it's there. And if we go to NASDAQ, this is the NASDAQ 100, and we can see this one sits in the middle. So between 8 and 11, we can see we make more money than lunchtime, which is this one. But then 2 to 3 p.m. is a lot more money than lunchtime. It's almost double in this case, and maybe a little bit 1.5 in this. So all the US indexes show the same behavior, which is dropping the window to take the signal between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. and after 3 p.m. will yield a much better system regardless of your entry logic. This assume, of course, you are exiting end of day. Now here I put other futures. This is gold and oil and the euro US dollar. Let's start with gold. So buying at 10 a.m. is the best value. So that's 33 average trade. And then the next best is buying at 11 a.m. And then the next best is buying at 1 p.m. So lunch hour is not that huge drop. In fact, it is very close to, let's say, 2 to 3 p.m. And if we look at crude, now crude has a peak around afternoon. So this is buying the 11 close. That means buying at 12 p.m. and exiting end of day. And that's yield the best. And then we can see we drop on both sides and we drop again on both sides. Now currencies are not the same as the other futures. So while gold and crude oil is, they trade 24 hours a day, but they are not the same as the currency. So for example, if we take British pound, it will have a big volume session during the European session, and Japanese yen will have a big session during the Asian session. So in order to test those, we need to extend the closing time till midnight. So we'll do this test now for the currencies, where we start by buying at 1 a.m. and closing at midnight. So this is the euro US dollar, and if we test this, this is buying at 1, closing at midnight. Now, in the beginning, it might make sense that this should make the most money because you're holding the most amount of time. But as you can see, it is not. In fact, it is 6 a.m. That's the close bar of 6. So that's 7 a.m. buying at 7. And until 1 p.m. And then this is the Asian session. You can see how it is very close average trade to this one. So this one starts 8 p.m. New York time. And this is 9 p.m. New York time, and this is 10 p.m. New York time, and exiting end of day. This is buying at 9 p.m. and exiting at midnight. So this is basically 3 hours. The average trade is $20. And this one buying at 12 p.m. So this is 12 hours and making the same amount of money. So you can see that there is a big edge here, and you can see even the win rate is different. So if I'm taking any signal here to go long, then it makes sense to restrict the signal between 7 and 12 and also between 8 and 9. So with currency now, even if you're trading H1, H4, this will make sense because usually you are holding, let's say 1 to 2.5 days on that time frame. So then this entry will make sense that to use it with any logic. You can use those as a filter. Of course, you need to test, but most likely this will affect your profitability and your average trade if you restrict taking the signal during those times. And let's look at gold now for 24 hours. So this is starting at 1 a.m. and selling at midnight. And you can see gold still shows the same behavior, but now we can make money earlier also. There's a clear window between 5 a.m. and 3 p.m. And for crude 24 hours a day, we can also see a clear window. So even though this is holding more hours, you can see it's losing money. And in fact, look at this, it's losing a lot of money. This, of course, makes sense now to short it, because with short, that means you're gonna make this amount. Remember, there is no filters here. And with crude, it's still the same. It's between 10, 11, and 12. And then everything else is crap. But the common thread between all this testing, and of course I've done a lot more, the common thread is the time window of your signal. So regardless of your logic, it doesn't matter what your logic says to trigger that buy trade, you need now to test it during those sessions. Some of them do very well in the morning, some of them do very well during 1 hour between 2 and 3 p.m. Those are the indexes. Some do very well in the early mornings, which is the European session, kind of overlapping with the New York Times session. And some do very well during the PM session, which is overlapped with the Asian session. But you can easily divide the day in 5 sessions, which is the Asian session, European session, and then the American session. You can divide this one in 2 to 3 windows. You will enhance your strategy regardless. I don't know what your strategy is, but it is rare that your strategy will behave the same in every window of the one I listed. To learn more, make sure to watch these videos, and I will see you there.